Monday evening, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on Up North Live Unscripted at 6:30. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday weekend, and hopefully if you were traveling, you didn't run into too big of issues. A lot of us did see a lot of snow this weekend, others maybe not so much, but some of us are still seeing snow right now. So let's bring in our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix. And Joe, we know that those folks who are seeing snow, we're seeing lake effect snow. When will that end?
Yeah, well, in some spots it has already a little bit from all the snow over the weekend. By other areas, it kind of shifts around on the wind, Maya. So some spots closer to Lake Michigan are getting the snow, like, southwest of Traverse City, where Gaylord, which had 40 inches of snow in spots, they're getting a little break tonight.
They deserve it. They need a break.
Absolutely do. Yeah. By the way, Gaylord had their snowiest ever day on Friday, excuse me. Almost 2 feet of snow. Most ever in one day.
Wow.
At Gaylord. Let's take a look. This is looking around northern Michigan right now. So you see the Mackinac Bridge. Not too bad there. By the way, I get asked, it looks like a UFO there in the bridge. I don't know if you can see it. Well, of course it went away. Those are, people do write in about that. Like, what's that thing in the sky? It's headlights from the cars. And you get the reflection in the camera. Just pointing that out. Gaylord, not bad. I mean, traffic's moving along fine. That's right now. Traverse City has had some snow. They'll see a little bit more off and on tonight. And then Cadillac, you can see some snow coming down there as we take a look at our Baker College camera. One thing to point out, we do have winter storm warnings in effect for these areas right here. It's Leelanau. This is for tonight until tomorrow morning. So Leelanau, Benzie, Grand Traverse, also Antrim and Kalkaska counties. Potential for some heavier lake effect snow in this region tonight. And then surrounding that in purple are winter weather advisories. Not quite as significant as a warning. Parts of the UP, and then all the purple shaded areas from Crawford County all the way down into, well, Oceana County, Mason County for some lake effect snow in this area overnight tonight. Quick look at radar. We'll kind of give you a look at that. We'll have more coming up in Maine weather, but there's a look at the snow right now. So Manistee, you're dealing with some snow. Over toward Cadillac, even Houghton Lake, Lake City, seeing some snow, and then kind of coming in off Lake Michigan because we have more of a north wind instead of a northwest wind that funnels that snow right down areas there around Grand Traverse Bay, for instance, this evening. And then a little further north, you can kind of see brushing Charlevoix too, a little snow. And then near Presque Isle on the other side of the state, some snow showers. So that's kind of a look at things right now, Maya. Across northern Michigan. Again, we'll have more on what's coming in. And interestingly enough, we've had all this lake effect snow, but there is another clipper coming in, like another system set to arrive. And that could drop some heavy snow too. We'll tell you when, and that arrives and how much a little later.
All right. Thank you, Joe. And speaking of the weather conditions, and some of us are probably seeing not the best road conditions, others probably not a whole lot of issues tonight, but let's turn things over to our reporter, Cody Bear. He has been out on the roads around northern Michigan. So Cody, what have you been seeing tonight?
Hey, yeah, so it's definitely been a mix. There are some parts of the road, especially, when you're in towns, that are really kind of plowed. When we first left the station, you could actually see plow trucks, smaller ones coming by, not really using their plows because they were clear. But a lot of back roads, of course, are going to have a bit more snow. And then as we got a little closer to Manistee, plows would come by and plow the road, and then immediately snow would just cover it back up. So a lot of it does depend on where you are. But there are some spots that aren't too bad, and there are some spots that are pretty rough.
So where are you right now, and what does it look like out there?
Yeah, I'm still in Benzie County, and right now it looks okay. Actually, I think a plow just went by. The road doesn't look bad. And the nice thing is it's really not snowing at the moment. I will say about 5 minutes ago, you couldn't really see 10 feet ahead of me. But right now it looks okay, and we're passing a lot of plow trucks. So they're definitely doing all that they can, thankfully, to kind of push the snow out of the way where they can.
And I'm assuming a lot of people on the roads are just taking it nice and easy tonight.
Yes, and myself included. When we're kind of driving and you're looking at, okay, we don't want people right behind us getting upset about how slow you're driving. That hasn't been an issue, fortunately. But also, if it is, still go a safe speed. But fortunately, it hasn't been an issue here because everyone's driving very, very slow. They're being very cautious.
Right. And after spending some time on the road tonight, do you have any tips or advice for folks who maybe have to go out and travel this evening?
Yeah, if you absolutely have to be out there, definitely take it slow. And, the tracks are kind of there for some of it, but for spots that it's not, just take it slow because that road is slick. And then be aware that if you're in spots where it's really, really snowing, as much as the road can be an issue, a lot of the bigger issue is that visibility. There were spots where it was snowing sideways and we really couldn't see 5 feet ahead. And that's something that you have to be aware of.
Absolutely. And I know I was driving home, back to Traverse City from Alpena yesterday, and I was on a road that was not the greatest conditions. And I actually passed a car who was in the ditch, and I just wanted to make sure that the driver was okay. So I pulled off to the side of the road, put my hazards on, made sure they were okay. They were. I got back in my car and I got stuck trying to just get back onto the road. So I know a lot of people's first instinct probably is to stop to make sure someone is okay. And if you can do that in a safe way, if you see someone in the ditch, that's great. But just be careful if you do have to pull over to the side of the road, because obviously those conditions over there are not the greatest either.
Yeah, don't put yourself in a spot you don't want to be.
Exactly. Have you seen any cars on the side of the road or in the ditch tonight?
Yeah, there actually have been a couple. One a little closer to Manistee and then one on a back road where they're kind of, we saw one on a back road that wasn't fully in the ditch, but you could tell was definitely kind of lost control and was on the side.
Yeah.
So it's happening, and a lot of it is that kind of back areas where the plows aren't hitting as much as maybe in town.
Sure. So again, like Cody said, if you do have to travel tonight, maybe just take it easy, because some of us are still going to be seeing more snow as the evening goes on. And that can cause a headache for drivers. But you know who loves all the snow are ski resorts. And Cody, you are working on a story tonight. Do you want to give us a little sneak peek of what we can expect to see at 11 o'clock?
Yeah, I spoke to a couple ski resorts about how this weather's great for them. Like you mentioned, they're excited about it and they want it. And they told me last year they didn't get a ton of it, a ton of that snow and cold weather. So they are very, very excited about, hopefully, this is a precedent of what's to come, because they want this snow and it helps them a lot.
Sure. And some are opening already, right? Some ski resorts?
Yes. I know a couple are open already, and then ones that aren't, everyone that I talked to, anyone that's not open already will be open Friday and Saturday this weekend. So some are open right now, and then ones that aren't, I know Boyne Mountain is open right now, but the ones that aren't, they're coming. They're about to start opening up. So if you're excited about skiing and snowboarding, it's a good time for you.
And is this a normal time for ski resorts to open, or is this a little later or earlier than normal?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. I talked to a few, and a lot of them said they shoot for around Thanksgiving Day or around Thanksgiving weekend. So for a lot, it is a weekend later. But they said what happened last year was around that Thanksgiving time and that Thanksgiving weekend. A lot of it was super cold at that time, and they're kind of like, okay, we're going to open up around that time, and then it got warmer afterwards. And that's kind of the opposite, where it wasn't quite cold enough for some of them. They didn't quite want to do it on that Thanksgiving day, but they're ready for next weekend, and they think it'll still be cold out here.
Anything else you want to mention, Cody, either about the road conditions tonight or about the upcoming ski season?
Yeah, with the upcoming ski season, with a lot of these ski slopes, a lot of it is that snowfall total, but even more so is the temperature. And that's even more important than the snowfall total. So tonight at 11, I'll kind of explain why that's the case and why temperatures, even more than that actual snowfall, is crucial for them. And then as far as driving, if you have to drive, just stay safe. If you're deciding whether you want to go take a bite to eat, maybe stay home.
All right, Cody. Well, thanks so much for joining us. And of course, you guys do have to drive back to the station. So safe travels out there. We look forward to seeing your story on the ski season tonight at 11. So let's turn things over to more holiday themes. So today, of course, is Cyber Monday. Millions of people are getting online, checking out all the deals and making some purchases for Cyber Monday this year, but it was actually a record-breaking Black Friday for online shopping. So new numbers from Adobe Analytics show that online shoppers spent $10.8 billion with a B dollars on Black Friday. That's up from $1 billion from last year. And Adobe expects today, Cyber Monday, to be even bigger than that. So MasterCard reports online Black Friday sales were up nearly 15%, while in-store sales grew less than 1%. So it does seem like more and more folks are opting to shop online for the holidays rather than shop in person. So that brings up our question of the day. Do you do a majority of your holiday shopping online or in person. So you can scan the QR code on your screen right now to vote. We'll put the QR code back up on the screen throughout the show, so you'll have a few other opportunities to vote. You can also go to our website, UpNorthLive.com, and scroll to our web story with this question of the day to vote. And as always, you can leave a comment on our Facebook page or on this live stream. So you can see the live results as of right now. 58% of people are choosing to do majority of their shopping online this year, while 42% say they are going to be doing it in person. So personally, I'm an in-person shopper. I know sometimes it can be a lot easier to shop online, maybe a little less hassle, but I like to go in person and just see everything that's out there. I think it makes sense to shop online if you already have an idea of this is exactly what I want to get this person. For me, I tend to get inspiration from going to stores in person. So that tends to work for me. But like I said, we'll take a few more looks at our question of the day as the show continues. But let's turn things over to a story that our anchor and reporter Mark Gillette worked on today, and it's related to what is being described as our state's water affordability crisis. So there are a growing number of Michigan residents that are falling behind on paying their water bills, which leads to their water being shut off, and that can lead to penalties for them and often headaches and hassles for landlords. But there's a package of bills that's been introduced in Lansing that could provide relief and could keep the water flowing. So our Mark Gillette reports.
Bottom line is this should keep Republican or Democrat, all of us up at night. If there are people who in the Great Lakes state can't get water, that's crazy.
Perhaps crazy, but true. More and more Michigan residents struggling to keep the water flowing by paying their water bills.
And we've watched every cost in our lives go through the roof. And sadly, it has ramifications to where a lot of families are having a hard time paying their water bills.
It's not only a big city issue. Unpaid bills, late fees, and shutoffs happen statewide.
Traverse City reached out to me, and Sault Ste. Marie really reached out. And they said, this is a big problem for us.
And this may be part of a solution, a package of bills introduced in the state Senate to address what's being described as a water affordability crisis. It addresses a lot of factors and perhaps creates a way out.
This is sort of loosely modeled on a statewide program that has worked really, really well for years and years and years related to heat, where there's a little surcharge on everybody's bill, and it goes to help with when people need a little hand up here.
This afternoon, in a virtual conference, lawmakers, some municipal water providers, and public health experts shared their support for the proposed legislation, describing the impact a lack of water, as well as a lack of payment for it, has.
We should lead by example by saying that no family should ever have to live without water simply because they cannot afford it. And what we've seen and the data has shown us is that water shutoffs disproportionately affect low-income families, seniors, and communities of color.
Amongst a handful of other things, this would create a residential affordability fund by charging a $2 fee for each retail water meter. That money, estimated to be at $90 million after 18 months of collection, would then be used to fund programs for those in need.
Families every year are coming in and making compromises to their household resources by choosing which bill to pay, which is often a water bill. And these compromises, they lead to further challenges to our community members' health and well-being.
Water is a public resource and should be available to all. And I believe that access to water is a human right. It's ridiculous that in the Great Lakes state that this is even an issue. But
a few more things to note about that story. So Senator Demuth says that water providers that currently have similar helping hand programs, they can keep those. And there are exemptions that allow smaller providers to opt out. And this does not impact wells at all. And Senator Demuth says that the legislation also allows for the money to be regionally contained. So that basically means that money collected where you live will stay in that community and will help local families who could be in need. That is all for our first block of the newscast, but we're going to take a quick commercial break, and in just a few minutes, we'll bring back in Chief Meteorologist Joe Charlevoix. He went into detail about what we're seeing tonight and kind of teased ahead to a potential another snow system heading our way soon. So we will bring him back in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Welcome back, everyone. While some of us continue to see more lake effect snow today, others saw a little bit of sunshine. So, Joe, what can we expect for our Tuesday? What's in store for us?
Yeah, I think a little break tomorrow
Okay.
before our next system comes in. Tuesday night into Wednesday. Maya, you were driving yesterday, the roads and spots, it just depends where you're at. Some
Yes.
areas weren't as bad. But Gaylord, as we mentioned, 40 inches of snow. Crazy. Over a couple-day period. Let's look at our advisories and warnings. We showed this off the top of the newscast, but the pink shaded areas is where we have winter storm warnings. That includes the areas around the Grand Traverse region, parts of the UP where you see the purple, and then surrounding the warning areas from Grayling through Cadillac down to Manistee, Ludington. That's where we have winter weather advisories in effect. Either way, that's where the bulk of the lake effect snow is going to fall. Here's a look at kind of a regional view across northern Michigan. And the thing is, we've kind of shifted our wind. We had it through the weekend, a northwest wind, which really, it just didn't stop. So that's why that snow just piled up in parts of Antrim, Otsego counties in particular, and then across the UP around Sault Ste. Marie, Sugar Island, around Whitefish Point, Paradise. But we've seen a little change in the wind direction. It's more out of the north currently. And what that's doing is kind of pushing some of the snow a little bit closer to the lakeshore. So here's a look at the wind right now. And instead of a northwest wind, we have a wind again from the north kind of funneling right down this evening. And this is where that snow is right now. So here's a look at kind of a closer look at radar. Some of the snow extending from the Houghton Lake area out to Lake Michigan, just getting into the Hamlin Lake, Ludington area, Manistee. You've had some snow. And then coming down the lakeshore, snow around the Manitou Islands, and then also right down Grand Traverse Bay. So some of that affecting the Traverse City region tonight as well. What we expect tonight, snow in that general area. You can see that. Grand Traverse region overnight. And then tomorrow, the wind will turn back out of the west. So watch what happens here. Tomorrow, the snow gets pushed inland. We get a little break. It's around 2 o'clock. Not bad. A couple light snow showers. But then here's our next system ramping up. Lake effect snow will target the Straits area. So if you're in Emmett, Sheboygan counties, Mackinac County, Charlevoix County, that's where the focus will be tomorrow night. And then the rest of northern Michigan late tomorrow night into Wednesday. That's a little clipper dropping in right there. Tuesday night into Wednesday. And when we add all of this up over a couple day period, there's tomorrow night, Wednesday, there's the heavy snow. Pellston, Sheboygan, looking at that. Newberry, around Bel Air, Boyne Falls, for instance, even the Traverse City region over the next couple of days. Here's our extended forecast. And I think the couple things to take away from this, the day of what could be some heavier snow is Tuesday night into Wednesday with that system crossing through. Then we'll get some scattered lake effect snow showers Thursday and Friday. I don't think the snow, especially by Friday into the start of the weekend, will be as intense as what we had last weekend. And then, Maya, look at Monday. We could be dealing a week from now, a little rain maybe with some 40s. So maybe a little warm up about a week from now.
Rain is never fun in December, though.
No, not at all.
We don't like that. All right, thank you so much, Joe. Let's take another quick commercial break. But right after the break, we're going to bring in our sports director, Harrison Beebe. We have a lot to talk about that big Lions win on Thursday. And we'll also take a look at the current NFL rankings. And we'll look ahead to the next Lions game on Thursday against the Packers. Stay with us. Well, it may be Monday now, but I'm sure a lot of us are still thinking about that Thanksgiving game between the Lions and the Bears. So let's bring in sports director Harrison Beebe. And Harrison, it sure wasn't a pretty one, and it was a nail biter, but the Lions somehow pulled it off.
Yeah, Maya, you tell me. You were at the game. What was your biggest takeaway leaving Ford Field on Thursday?
I've been in a lot of games where it comes down to the wire, like the playoff games last year and the opener this year against the Rams. I have never been at Ford Field with that sort of nervous energy, even though I have been to a lot of games that were this close. Like, we weren't even that loud towards the end of the game, so I think everyone was just so nervous and unsettled. It was not super fun at the end.
Do you think that was the Thanksgiving losing streak? Was that the real pressure? Because the Lions' loss on its own is, and we're going to go over the standings in a second, which would pinpoint how pivotal a Lions' loss would have been. But on its own, it wouldn't have wrecked the season in any way.
It wouldn't have wrecked the season, but I think the fact that they hadn't won on Thanksgiving in so long was maybe playing a part, but also just the fact that it was against the Bears, a team that at the beginning of the season maybe looked a little more promising, but after what we've seen the past couple weeks, kind of have pretty low expectations. And I know when we guessed our score predictions, and I'm sure when a lot of people had score predictions, they expected this to be somewhat of a blowout.
Yeah, you could have said that, but no game is easy in the NFL, and I think anything we learned by the Bears coming in and making it a game at Ford Field, maybe that Ford Field, it's still home field advantage, but maybe it's not as going to be difficult for somebody to go in there and win as we thought. So that's why these standings we're going to show you right now are kind of pivotal. This is what the NFC looks like here going down the final 5 weeks of the regular season. The Eagles and the Vikings both right there. The Lions still play the Vikings one more time. You see the Packers 2 games back. They'll see Green Bay at Ford Field on Thursday. It's looking like there's a good shot the Lions are going to host throughout the NFC playoffs, but I think what we learned Thursday and what these standings show us is it's not going to be an easy win to get to the Super Bowl for Detroit.
Like you said, no game is an easy game in the NFL. So yeah, still a lot at stake for the Lions this season. But Harrison, thanks so much for joining us. We are out of time for sports, unfortunately, so we're going to take another quick commercial break, but we'll be back in just a few minutes and we'll take another look at the live results for our question of the day.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Our question of the day today is, do you do a majority of your holiday shopping online or in person? It looks like a majority of voters, 58%, say online. We have a couple comments on our Facebook. Ann says in person. I like to check it before buying. Charlie says online, it's so much easier. Matt says either online or in person. Jim says never online. So thanks so much for voting on our question of the day today and for joining us on Up North Live Unscripted. We hope to see you back here at 11 o'clock tonight. Take care, everyone.